Satwik Reddy Jambula is an Oracle ACE associate. He's actually one of our newest members of the Oracle ACE program. He just joined us in February, if I'm not mistaken. He has over 10 years of experience working with Oracle Apex, developing both internal and external applications. And currently, he's a senior applications developer at Uber, where he focuses on building customized application on Oracle e-business suite. So welcome, Satwik.
Thanks, Savannah. Hey, everyone. This is Satwik. Honest, I have 10 years of experience working as an Oracle Apex developer. Okay. And yeah, I'm excited to be part of Oracle ACE program and excited to talking at the Oracle ACE conference for the first time. And it's making me a little bit of nervous, and by looking at all the previous sessions. And today, I'll be focusing or talking about building a specialized ChatGPT for Oracle Apex development and how we can fine tune the OpenAI models.
Sounds great.
And the agenda is what all the challenges we face during Oracle Apex development, and what's an LLM exactly? Why fine tuning is very important for an OpenAI model? While doing the Apex development, and what kind of data we have to prepare, especially for Apex specific training, and how can we fine tune an OpenAI model, and what are the ways we can integrate then Oracle Apex using REST APIs or inbuilt features from the version 24.1 or 24.2. Okay. Yeah. Challenges. When it comes to the challenges in Oracle Apex development there are many gray areas where while developing few of the components, example interactive grids, where I've faced so many issues. And also few of the nuances or critical areas which I want to tell you guys. One is the SQL optimization, where whenever we're handling the SQL query or handling large data sets, right? It requires SQL optimization. Without knowing anything on the SQL, or for the first time when we are developing it, it's hard for any of the developers to think and then optimize the SQL query and then run a report, and which causes the slowdown on an Apex page, and then after that, which frustrates the end users. If it's a small data set, let's say if it has 10 or 20 rows or maybe 100 rows, but when it goes to millions of rows, then we definitely have to tune the table or the SQL, which should in turn turn into seconds, right, rather than in the minutes. And when it comes to the PL SQL errors, there are cases where we have an issue in the backend PL SQL API, but we face that, we see that error on the UI. But when it comes to the Apex developers, especially, and there are a few other backend developers who does the PL SQL development, for them, for the Apex developers, it's hard to debug, and then they have to go to the pin, they have to pinpoint the exact error or dig through a lot of code and then see what exactly causing the issue and why it's causing issue, and then whom to reach out, all those things. And also following the best practice, security best practices. Here, whenever example, if a person who joined a company and then they don't know what all the best security practices they have to follow while developing an application or doing, and what all the security risks we face, and then what they should take care during the Apex development. And there are some nuances in the Apex too. Oracle gives us the best documentation or Oracle Apex development, but when it comes to developing the interactive grids, there are a few areas, gray areas, where we have the APIs, but when we want to customize it more and more, it's hard for any of us to find the exact API or exact way how we can develop all those things. And for this, it makes the end users or the developers they have to spend more time on searching for the documentation and testing the solutions, all those sessions. Like um, this is the reason, like why exactly we need a pod tool to write the better code, debug faster, and maintain the best security practices, and also following the coding standards as per the company policies. Yeah. Now, exactly, what's an LLM? I know most of you know about this, but still, I just want to go over a few of this thing. Okay, what's an LLM? LLM is nothing but a large language model, which conceptually a massive model with more like billions of parameters that perform a specific task, predicting the word like text, and then they mimic to the real world behavior when given a specific text or input. Um, like most of the LLMs like which are found online, they have been trained with huge amounts of data over the internet, like websites, everywhere. Like wherever we have a website, it's been trained with that, most of it. And think like this. Imagine like you have read millions of books, or you read like articles and messages. And over time, like you'd start noticing the patterns, like how the sentences are formed, like what words usually go together, like how the questions have been asked, and so on. And after that, like you would really get a good at predicting what words come next in a sentence, or something like that, like in an LLM, and what it can do. Because it's so good with language, an LLM can answer your questions, like whatever questions we ask, like write stories or essays, like for the questions we asked, and it can translate any language messages, or it can summarize the articles, and it can chat like a person. Uh, okay, and in short, like the LLM means it's a super speed reader and writer trained on tons of text, like built to understand and create human-like language. And next, why exactly we have to fine-tune an OpenAI model? Because like most of the models are pre-trained like ChatGPT 4 or Omni or other, and they're incredibly powerful. They are designed to the general purpose, like this means like they may not fully understand the interfaces or intricacies of an Oracle Apex development, like examples such as like I told you before, such as interactive grids or PL SQL syntaxes or SQL optimization techniques. Sometimes like the fine tuning allows us to customize these models for Apex specific workflows, like making them far more effective and efficient for the developers. And like, what are the benefits of this? Especially benefits like it can have its own domain specific expertise, because like we are talking about Oracle Apex here. So by fine tuning the model, we can teach it about Oracle Apex specific concepts, such as like REST data sources or interactive grids or workflows or dynamic actions or authorizations or authentications or anything, or PL SQL syntaxes or SQL tuning techniques, which are very crucial for building performant applications. Instead of if you go to the ChatGPT right away, and then if we ask a question, it gives us like a generic response by giving like X number of steps, which we don't want, and we want like a specific syntax or specific framework, like which it should provide us, like which should give us. And the accuracy next, like accuracy is like I told you, like it gives us a generic message, right? Like to reduce some of the hallucinations and responses that sound plausible but are incorrect for us. By training this real world examples, we can use Oracle Apex documentation, or Oracle SQL documentation, PL SQL documentation, or and also like if any of the company has any coding standards documentation or project related documentations, all those things we can add to the model, like where we can fine tune based on those. And last but not the least, like we have to look for the cost efficiency too. because initially, like when we fine tune the model, it like eventually in the future it helps us to reduce the token usage by teaching the model to understand like the common patterns or generate concise responses. And this eliminates the need for lengthy or redundant prompts. Mm. Okay. And sorry, forgot to mention. And it also helps us in the uh, fine tuning. Like we can also add the debugging assistance or something like that in that. And the data preparation, which is the most crucial step in fine-tuning a larger language model, the quality and the structure of the data set directly impacts how well the model performs in specific or specific tasks. Like for this process, like we just need to carefully curate or clean or organize the data that reflects us like the real world Orgel development scenarios. And like example, the sources, right? Like I said, like sources, like we have Oracle Epic stuff. That's the best documentation we can get. And for all the like whoever is starting or just getting to know it, it's helpful for them. And then we can onboard that particular documentation to our fine-tuning data set and then um, train the model, which has the detailed explanations of components, like all the components, which has been used in Oracle Epics. And also the code repositories where like we can use PL SQL code blocks or JavaScript validations or like SQL queries for existing apps from the existing apps, like all the code snippets, like from the existing apps, like what all the features have been implemented in the existing apps, all those information. And also the PL SQL code samples, like which is the heart of the Oracle Apex application. Let's say like if you have any code snippets which can handle common tasks like writing a PL SQL process or validation or a trigger and or some error handling which is essential during the development, like that's also we can use inside the data preparation to fine tune the model. And again inside this, like we can also have like let's say if we have an application which was already sent out to the users, so there is a troubleshooting log which can be handed over to the developers, like that also we can modify, like we can add it to the data preparation where which is essential or useful for the new developers or like whoever is looking into that particular troubleshoot. And we can also add some SQL tuning techniques. Like this way, like the optimal SQL queries, which are crucial for performance in Oracle Apex applications. We can add some examples for query optimization techniques, such as like indexes or partitions or hints, which can help the model generate the better SQL. And the last but not the least, like it's also better to have the historical supporting tickets. Like let's say if we have any ticketing tool where we maintain all the issues related to that particular application, we can also gather that particular information and then prepare the data set based on that. Um, and like what are the tools we use for data, like how we can prepare the data, like what are the tools we can use for that. Like one good example is like the OCA cloud infrastructure, like where OCA data labeling, which is like a semi-automated tagging tool for the documentation and the code samples. And we can also use OCA data science Juniper notebooks, which can pre-process the raw data or something if we have the raw data, which can pre-process the raw data into the JSON format, which is the standard format, like where if you want to upload to ChatGPT or the model where we want to train it. And like after formatting into the JSON file, like how we can validate the data set, like whether we want to know whether that's a proper one or not. So we can validate using the OpenAI CLI, which validates the JSON format for us. With the data preparation, right? Like carefully preparing the high quality data sets from the diverse sources and applying like the augmentation techniques, we can ensure that the fine-tuned model understands Oracle Apex concepts like deeply and generates which can generate like the accurate responses. Next, we can explore the actual workflows, like the fine-tuning workflows. Next, okay. And how can we fine-tune the OpenAI model? Like after preparing all the data sets and everything, we can import Python to our local workspace, like in our laptop, and then we can start uploading data set to the model. For that, like we have to generate the OpenAI key from the platform or the dashboard of the ChatGPT or any other generative AI tools like which we use. And there's like a small code snippet which I added here where the exact word which is enough for like when we are beginning in the beginning stage, like where we want to configure or where we want to upload the fine-tuned data sets to the model. And after uploading that, we have to fine-tune the model. So there's a small code snippet, Python's code snippet, like where how we can plug into our local laptop and then start fine-tuning. Further, like I had given few configuration hyperparameters here. Like if you see the batch size, like how many um, examples like which we want to train. Like example, I had given 8. So it means it processes 8 examples per update. Why the balances that's why the balances memory usage and training speed for medium data sets and rate multiplier or learning rate multiplier, which prevents like the overwriting the model's general knowledge while adapting to epics and also approaches. It's like the model avoids overfitting or memorizing the data set instead of learning the patterns. And how can we monitor, like let's say if we are fine tuning and we started fine tuning, we want to monitor it, like we can go to the OpenAI dashboard and then we can see the metrics where it shows like that uh, how it's been getting trained, and we have to look for the training loss, which means like the lower then it's the better. And like once the fine tuning is done and the training is done, like how we can evaluate the model, how can we evaluate the model? So I had given a small code snippet, like the Python code snippet, like how we can evaluate the model, like which we can run in our local desktop, like which in turns like which should return the data or prompt the output. So by that, like we can say like whether it's giving the proper response which we had given in our data source, whether it's writing it properly or not, we can verify. And after fine tuning, like how can we integrate this to Oracle Apex? Yeah. From starting from 24 Apex, Oracle Apex itself has an uh, web web credential page where we can onboard like any source to Oracle Apex. There, like we're just onboarding the or OpenAI credentials here, and then after that, after setting up the credentials, like from 24.1, Oracle Apex has a feature called GenAI service, like where we can create our own assistants or any like GenAI services. So here, like we can choose the AI provider and then name it like whatever we want to, and then give the base URL and the credentials, like which we entered in the web credentials, we can just import them and test there itself right in there, and then give the AI model which we want to like which we trained in our project in the OpenAI. Sorry, give me a minute. Sorry, I don't have the demo ready, so I just added to the slide. So once everything is done, right, we can build an Apex page where we can just give a text, build a text field, and then build it a classic region and create a dynamic action. Once we click on the OpenAI, like on the button click, it should and the rest, which should show the response there itself. Okay. And then like what exactly is the GenAI assistant? Like from the 24.1 or 24.2, Apex itself is giving as the Apex assistant, like which in turn uses the GenAI service like which we had created in the previous slides, and then we can chat with Apex with the GenAI services, and then the fine-tune LLM which we had given previously. So what it can help, like in a way, it helps us to create an application blueprint, like or leverages the existing tables inside our in data dictionary, or any, like if we want to create a master detail report or interactive grade or anything, or building an app like using a simple natural language, like which we don't have to know everything and anything. And also like the Apex AI assistant, like example, like inside our data source, like we had given some project related information, like for the developers, they can enter and then learn more about the projects, and also debugging, like what all, like if there is any issue or something, they can come here and then ask like where exactly is it's being used, in what package it's being used, and why like is this helpful for us? Like it helps us in faster development cycles, like which in turn reduces the time like we spent on debugging or writing the boilerplate code, or let's say, and sometimes like we also create the mockups, right? That's also helpful for us. Like we don't have to spend time creating on mockups, like which in turn like right away, like if we are having any business meeting or something, can right away create the mockups then and there itself. And also like it's also helpful for us to maintain the best practices, like which ensures like all of our team members follow security and performance guidelines or coding practices, everything. And also a scalability perspective, which in turn handles the complex Apex apps with the AI-driven optimizations, all those things. And also the governance, like the compliance, like which in turn helps us for the authorizations or authentications, and also the applying the data set for the VPD policies, ensuring that like AI outputs are there, the organization policies at the same time. What are the next steps? Like for me is like I'm planning to generate a JSNL file for the interactive grid through my report, like which in turn, like which would be an open source, like where we'll have all the complex interactive grid scenarios, which can be handled it over to everyone.